Eden Cause here with JustBe, and we are about to take a spiritual boom. We are at an unprecedented time in human history where we are transitioning from 3D to 5D within the great spiritual awakening. This video and audio podcast is the place for you to find your truth beyond politics, your sovereignty, your voice. Let's kick up your vibration now. By the way, each episode ends with the JustBe practice to do just that. P.S. Just to know a little bit more about me, I'm a psychological empath, meditation master, dimensional healer, all the things to help you within this ascension. To learn more about me, visit me at EdenJustBe.com. And let's get this party started. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Oh. Hello, everybody. Eden with JustBe Spiritual Boom here in association with the rebellious, loving, truth-telling Grassroots Network. Hello, Shylo. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I feel so blessed to be here with you today, Eden.
Oh, well, thank you. And it's really interesting how we met. I'm going to go into this quickly. A friend of mine sent me, you were doing a live Instagram meditation. I don't think anyone's ever sent me that. And I'm like, oh, gosh, I'll just tune in. There you were. And I was like, oh, she'd be really great to have on the show. And then you ended up knowing Sarah Wolf, who was on the show a couple months ago. So it's just so neat how it's all intertwined. Okay, so I'm going to read Shylo's bio in a moment, and potentially we're going to discuss astral realms, warrior women, asthma, multidimensionality. I just went through all these things. Awareness, plant medicine. Yeah, we'll see where we're going to go. So hold on to your hats. Oh, and I do, and you put this in your notes too. I do want to talk about your primordial. Did I say that right? Primordial returns. Is that what you named your? Okay. Are they consistently your retreats named that?
So that is the foundational base of the retreats. We have different retreats that we have that branch off of primordial return, but yeah, I don't know if you want me to get into that right now or a little later.
Let's wait because I love the one video you have of that on Instagram. Okay, and you are typically, you're not in Austin now, but you're typically in Austin. I wanted to ask you, in terms of the Great Awakening, what's it like there? Are people pretty progressive, or there's a little bit of everything there?
Yeah, Austin is a very interesting space. I feel like, landing there, it was kind of like I stepped in a whole other world in the sense of spirituality and conscious communication. I feel like there is, it's really magnetizing a lot of people that are really awakening to their highest mission, their, higher purpose. And it feels really good to be in a space where I can be fully myself and express on the level of, what I experienced through my channelings and, my business and all of those aspects, and really be met with that. Now it's interesting because there's also rise of the tech industry along with the spiritual industry. And so it's kind of like these two very dynamic frequencies and energies. And so I'm seeing, not that technology is dark, I think there's light and dark in everything, same with the spiritual industry, but I'm just seeing very different energetics kind of rising at the same time. And so it just feels like a powerful place to be in many different aspects of reality right now.
All right. Very interesting. Thank you for sharing. I just had a friend of mine return from Ireland, excuse me, and she described how woke it was there, which was surprising to me. So I just wanted to hear about Texas, because I think you're my first guest that's from Texas. Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Canada. I've been living down in Texas for a couple of years. I'm from the West Coast, British Columbia. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh, very neat. All right. I'm going to showcase your bio in just a second, but two things I wanted to point out. And one of those, for those who are watching, I would like you to look at my little sweatshirt that I have on. Shylo knows, because I said a while back, by the time this is live, all my t-shirts and swag beyond t-shirts and hats are going to be ready, available. So the one I have on today, for those who can't see, have this beautiful little sheep that my daughter drew. And I love it because it's just this innocent, cute little sheep. And underneath it, it says, "Wake up, sheeple." So it's such a sweet little lamb or sheep right there, and just requesting. So I love this stuff. And my logo's on the back of it because why not? Yet it's not about promoting me. It's about promoting this evolution, everything that's going on without you having to say a word. And I have loved it. Loved creating them. I think we're at this point over 25 designs, so they're fun. Some are like 3D Great Awakening, and then there are some more controversial ones in there too, which are very fun. Second thing I wanted to highlight for a moment, and if you're watching, I will also showcase this, and this is very important. I've mentioned this probably twice on the show. Now it's becoming more refined. So I can do VID, jib jab, spiritual healings. And we just got blood work. So Lisa Schimmerhorn, who I'm working with on the grassroots Warrior Network. We just got live blood samples before and after the healing. So I'm going to showcase them here. These are the client, she did not have spike proteins or graphene oxide because there were several healing modalities she was participating in, yet huge blood clumps. And you will see on these two, the first one, it's kind of a white, her blood sample is kind of white and clumped together. And then the second one is just this radiant red blood. So this, you all, this is a game changer. And Shylo, I was going to ask you today because I was talking to one friend in California who's going to be helping me. And he's like, Eden, what about protection? Because once this starts getting out, it's going to be shut down. And I'm like, I just light. I'm just putting out there light that we will not be detected, that we'll just move easily from that. Do you have anything to add to that? Because this game changer, exciting. What would you add to that? I'm going to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's kind of like the package with it, right? It's creating setting divine intention of what you're creating and what you're bringing forth. That's really assisting in, what you really spoke into, the great awakening, right? There's all of these different tools and modalities that are really assisting
Mm-hmm.
in what we're here to do. And we all have different parts and pieces of the puzzle. And so it's setting intention and really encapsulating it in light that if I'm receiving messages from the divine and to really be on mission, that I be protected and supported in the creative
Yes.
ideas coming through. And with that level of certainty and sovereignty in your field, I really like to believe that we can have an unshakable energy with the movement that we have moving forward.
I freaking love that. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to go right into your bio. Thank you. Yeah, because I agree that we do not consent, that it is, using our voices and our hearts and this light that we have, how incredibly powerful it is. Shiloh Dawn, is that Dawn? Okay.
Yes.
Shallow Dawn is your guide to the astral realms. This, I put this in there. This wild warrior woman, who is a motorcyclist and snowboarder as well, has felt a strong connection to spirit from a very early age, astral traveling, activating portals, connecting with higher dimensional beings, and much more. Her passion is to connect others to their multidimensionality and teach the true embodiment of the higher self, being a powerful channel for light language and working directly with galactic beings to aid in the shift of our evolutionary consciousness. She has helped many to understand their gifts and deepen their connection with higher dimensional fields. For example, she works with meditation, sacred geometry, angels, universal laws, quantum manifestation. Oh, let me pause for a minute. Akashic records, frequencies, among many, many different things. Shiloh's vision is to help guide you back to your light so you can embody your sovereign being. She believes deeply in this work and knows the power of women coming back together at this time, which is huge, holding the true vision of healing for the collective consciousness. As a teacher, mentor, and leader, she is here and she will do this today to be a way shower and be the sacred mirror for you to awaken into your highest potential. Holy smokes, that was great. What do you think of yourself?
It's been a journey to get here. It's been a journey to get to this space. And
Yep.
I'm so grateful for all of it. Just speaking into, those pieces, it hasn't been a cakewalk to come through, the portal of even getting to be in a place of having the confidence to be a guide and speak of being
Yep.
a way show and leader. What I really believe that being a true leader is walking through the fire first. So you can bridge the pathway and allow it to be a little easier, maybe, create the blueprint or forge the path to create a little bit more ease on the collective as they're going through this awakening process, because it's not easy to be in the human experience, especially right now at this time.
Yep, indeed. All right. So I want to go straight into that. How did you come about the Great Awakening, knowing that when you were small, because I want to talk about this too, that you were already dancing into the multi-dimensionality? Was that kind of the first enlightenment that there was more to this world? Like for me, I've been doing this work for a really long time, but it was the experience with lockdowns that suddenly I was like, whoa, there's so much more to this world. Okay, so how did that come into being happen for you?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think we can, look, for me, it was like looking back at my childhood, and, I didn't really realize at the time what I was even tapping into or understanding. But I believe that our childhood has so many little nuggets for us, right? And so when I look
Mhm.
back and I think, well, how did I feel when I was a child? And at that time, there was a lot of, I have an incredible family and we've all done so much healing and work together. But at that time, right, as most people had trauma in their childhood, I felt really powerless in my home. There was a lot of loud personalities.
Okay, can you
Um,
quickly tell me, was it you parents, how many siblings? What did your household look like?
it was, yeah, two parents and my brother living in my household.
Okay.
And then I have two other siblings, but that's a whole other story. They didn't actually grow up with me. Um, but I felt really powerless. And so realizing that at that time, and I didn't feel safe in my body, I didn't feel safe in my environment when I was younger. And so realizing now, and the ability that I have to connect with my guides, what that process was for myself, I really believe that I chose that family coming in and that design to teach me how to, at that time, astral project out of my physical form. I didn't actually feel safe in my body as a child. And so or in my environment. So I was learning how to actually exit my human form. And now that I understand even the science behind it and the energetics, it's, we have seven subtle bodies. And it was one of the outer three layers of my subtle bodies, the astral body, that it starts to tune to a certain frequency and vibration. And,
Mhm.
now I teach this through modalities of sacred geometry and meditation. But at that time, I was just doing it. It was just kind of an unconscious experience. And so that
So
really,
what happened? You're a kid and you come back and you're like, what the heck was that? Or it became so, oh, I just did this. And yeah, can you speak a little bit more to that? Because that's pretty cool.
absolutely. Yeah, I can think of, in the sense of, how children have incredible imaginations, right? And
Yeah.
so how it would be is I would kind of be in this more like daydream kind of, that liminal space. And that's kind of how meditation is, right? We go from
Mhm.
the high beta into, alpha, and then kind of into that theta state, or into the deep theta. And so I believe that I was in this state that my brainwaves were actually allowing me to access these other realms. But I quite literally would like open up my headboard. It would be these portals that would open, and I would go into these other dimensions, connecting with beings. A lot of sacred geometry at that time were in these other dimensions. And to me, it was just exploring my imagination. I was also, when we can look at children, they're so deeply connected to these other worlds. And so at that time, I didn't know that that wasn't something that every other kid was doing until I started, you know, going into school and speaking on the playground of, oh, I had
Oh,
this experience, and
jeez.
realizing that the other children are not experiencing what I was. And so it was then that I started to realize, oh, I'm a little bit different, in the sense of my imagination maybe is a little different at that time is what I thought.
Can I
And
ask
now
you
look,
two things?
yeah.
Okay. So you did this in waking, not sleeping per se.
Mhm.
Okay. And when you started talking to the other kids, little kids about it, were they just like, you're weird? Did they chastise you or just go, hey, oh, okay, that's interesting? How did that go down?
I don't fully really remember, to be honest. I don't feel like I was
Okay.
cast out in any way.
Mhm.
I just knew that I was different. Like I was experiencing something different than the other children were experiencing.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. All right. Please go ahead. That's so neat.
Yeah, and so that continued into my teenage years. As a teen, I was really starting to experience in the dream state and out of the dream state, in a similar way, really kind of going through the realms of multidimensionality, connecting with other beings. And it started to actually get a little intense for me into my teen years. And so I started to shut it down. I actually started to numb out with drinking and substance abuse at that time. It was, smoking marijuana as a teenager, right? Which is, a lot of people's kind of stories of, the party days. But I realize now looking back that at that time, it was a time of numbing out and, um, yeah, numbing out my abilities and my gifts as I was really starting to step into my power, especially as a teenager. What I realized was I didn't want to be different, right? You wanted to fit in as a teenager. I wanted to be like everyone else. I didn't really want to have these abilities and these gifts. And so it wasn't until my 20s when I had a really powerful, profound experience with, what I would call higher dimensional beings. A lot of people may call them, aliens or UFOs.
Mhm.
And that was what just kind of shook me to my core
Okay, can I
of,
add something within
yeah,
that? Because it's really interesting. A lot of people shut down these abilities when they're children. And I have many people that have come on the show that basically, because of the religion that their family was in, they would say something and the religion would go, well, not only no, heck no. So the fact that you even went into your teenage years still accessing it, that's awesome. All right, so go ahead with what happened when you were in your 20s.
Yeah, and so I'll say with the continue to accessing it, I will say my parents never shut it down for me. Like at any time I would bring it to,
Yeah.
especially my mom, she didn't understand, but she would, invite it in or be curious about it. Or, I recall seeing my grandfather a few times and she'd tell me, oh, explain what he looks like. And I would explain it, oh, yes, that's your grandfather, fully believing me. And so I feel like, there was a part of me that really kept that going as a child because of my parents supporting it.
Mhm.
But then it was, the teen years is what really shut it down. But,
Nice.
my experience, yeah, my experience connecting, I mean, this is kind of a long story, so I'll shorten it. But, basically through frequency and vibration, connected to some aircrafts that were over above, and I was one of 6 people that saw it. And I just felt my vibration of my being starting to raise in a way that I had never quite experienced before. And through my experience with it was it's almost like through my ability to astral project and leave physical form. That's basically what I did. So from the outside looking in, I was still physically here, but my astral body, my energetic body was actually taken into the spacecraft. And so with that, I was connecting with the Pleiadians. And they had, and so there's a lot of people here now that are Pleiadian starseeds and really connecting into the ancient ancestral through the cosmic um, identity of who we are on a soul level. And with that, they really showed me and allowed me to feel who I was on a soul level, more past this human experience, more than Shylo. And I really tuned into that. And that is really what created a bit of a catalyst for me. But I did a pendulum swing. I actually shut down more after that because it was so intense. Now, this experience happened to me in 2010. And so um, at that time, nobody was talking about spirituality, right? They weren't talking about star seeds or
Yeah.
anything like that. So again, it was very much, I'm experiencing something that a lot
So,
of people kind of look,
but can I ask you, when you were one of
yeah.
six, what do the other five do?
So they just saw the craft, right? So they saw it, but I saw it, and then I was actually astral projected
Wow.
into the experience of it. And so I that's the part that I knew. I was like, there's something deeper here
Mhm.
because I have other people that also witnessed the
Mhm.
physicality of it, but energetically I connected on a deeper level. And I just believe that was because I had been practicing, right, without really even, knowing or trying. I had the ability to tune and tap in. And I truly believe that everyone has that ability. It just
Mhm.
takes practice energetically, right? And I had had so much practice up until that point to tuning in. So it was very easy for them to communicate with me on a deeper level. And so that happened in 2010, and that was basically just like um the skyrocket for me to really start tapping and tuning into my spiritual path.
Okay, so you said it also shut you down for a while. How
Yes.
how long did it take for you to go, or yeah, what happened there?
So at the time I was in a relationship,
Mhm.
and it was very new into the relationship, but I was actually with him for a total of 8 years. And it was one of those life lessons of what you'd spoken into, right? Very religious. And so me coming, speaking of that experience of connecting, with the Pleiadians, and I believe I'm a starseed and from these different systems, that wasn't fully received, right? And there's no blame or wrong or shame, right? It's just
Right.
conditioning, it's just programming. And that's something that I've really started to understand as I've gotten older, is that people can only understand you or match you to the level of consciousness that they reside in, and that there's no like there's no right or wrong with it. It just is.
Hmm.
Right. And
Hmm.
so I wasn't able to be matched at that time. And so I did. I continued to shut down again. Went into, I was in my 20s. So again, it was drinking and partying and having fun, and really tuning out what I had experienced in the humanness of me, but on a soul level, I
Oh,
always knew there was something so deep within me that knew that I was here um, to really embody my spirituality, and go. And I knew at some point in my life I would do a deep dive into the introspection of what that meant for me and what that looked like. And so I will say things really shifted and changed in my Saturn return, which would have been 28, 29, around there. And that's when things really started to shift for me.
so how knowing that you were in this relationship and you started shutting down, what was the impetus to go, okay, you need to really start moving into this? Did you in the relationship? Yeah, what happened, Shiloh?
Yeah, so this is another really fascinating experience. And so I can think
Ooh,
of these major life shifts and events that have happened to me, right? What I
yeah.
spoke to, the Pleiadians contacting me, I wouldn't say that one of the first, but one of the major ones for me. And so what you just asked would have been the second really major experience for me, or at least one of the core memories that really come forward.
Hmm.
So um there was something within me. We had just traveled to Thailand together, and there's something within me. I had it in my first past life experience when I was in Thailand, actually in one of the monasteries. I had never had a past life experience before, and this was me, really starting to understand the multidimensionality of myself, and how nothing's linear, and all timelines are happening simultaneously. And so I had a really profound experience of that I had lived in a temple that I was quite literally barefoot walking on in the time. And so it was like I was going through these little tiny ascensions, these tiny little evolutionary processes of my own throughout my experience. And so something within me just said, you know, I felt something shifting. I felt something changing. And so I was with a friend sitting around a fire, and we had done a little plant medicine ceremony. And as I was sitting there, I, again, very similarly to the experience with the ship, felt my frequency, felt my vibration starting to rise to a level that I hadn't experienced before. And it was almost as if my entire reality kind of dissolved around me. And in front of me was standing my higher self. So the highest version of me that existed at that point that I can connect to. And she looked at me and spoke to me telepathically, and she said, "Remember who you are and where your true path lies." And it just like brought me back into my body. Um, on such a level that I knew in that moment that everything had to change, right? The way that I was
Ooh,
living my life, the any of the toxic people, like just every single way that I was operating from that moment on needed to change. And so I really started to make some massive shifts at that time.
jeez. Okay, what'd you
Um,
do?
yeah.
How quickly did it come? What went down? Oh
Uh,
yeah.
the next day, literally the next day, I ended the relationship.
No
Um,
way.
and I went on a deep healing journey, a really profound healing journey, traveling. I traveled all over Southeast Asia.
Mhm.
I went and sat in a monastery and took a vow of silence for 10 days and sat in complete silence. Back to the monastery that I had that past life experience in, and then just
Oh,
dove deeper into what that meant and learning that and this is something about past life experiences is when they come up for us, they're trying to teach us something, they're trying to show us something. And so with that, it was bringing back on the cellular memory of my ability to meditate and go inward and tap in. So it was like everything that I'd cultivated in that lifetime was awakening within me to remember. So there's like a wholeness from all of the fragments that kind of, take place throughout these lifetimes coming back in and integrating with one another. And so I started traveling. And I went to Peru and sat with ayahuasca for the first time, which was one of the most life-changing experiences that I've had. And it was there that I had met my next partner. And also the time that I had a message of, okay, now it's time to quit. It's the message came in of you're going to be quitting your job soon. It wasn't quite right now in this moment.
and what was your job at that point?
I was a
What are
heavy
you doing?
equipment operator in northern Canada.
Yeah, you need to quit
Completely
that.
different career job. And I tell people that they're like,
Wow.
wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, operating the largest heavy equipment in the world, working in an open pit oil sands mine, which is just totally different than what I do now. And I
Oh,
realized
it
when I was,
sucks.
when I was up there, my light language channel actually opened and activated while I was still working in the mine, believe it or not. And so I realized when I was up there that I was meant to heal and clear the land. I felt like I was like a
Oh,
double agent up there. So every
okay.
morning before I got on my equipment, because it's all very much it's all very sacred land that we were on up there. Um and so putting my hands in the just in the ground and just praying and speaking prayer into the land and clearing the land and hearing the land, giving gratitude and saying sorry for the way that we, just take from her, especially in, where I was, and speaking light language and realizing that like how the divine orchestration really starts to take place in that sense. And then once my light language channel opened up, I had a very clear and direct message of it's vital for me to quit my job before my 33rd birthday. And and at that point, I was about 6 months from 33, and this was in the middle of the pandemic, right? The whole world's shutting down. And so I'm also in this place of, is this the smartest thing to be, it's not the safest decision to leave, not only my job, but my country. Sold everything, and just really took the biggest leap of my entire life of this isn't the life for me anymore. I'm ready to up level and step into something higher, and fully dove um into my business, into my mission, and into what I'm really here to do. And that led me into, where I'm at now.
So, did you move out of Canada within that period of time, or right after the lockdowns? Because I know there's Canada is pretty intense. Was it intense for you? What was it like?
It was really intense. They were so strict with everything.
Yeah.
Luckily, again, the divine orchestration of everything, I had like a window where the borders opened.
Jeez.
And it was right around my birthday. It was I left Canada June of 2021, and the borders had opened for the summer.
Oh, I'm getting
And then right
chills.
after the summer they had closed again. So it just felt like such a direct message from my guides as well, of being like, there's a window opening. If you want to step into the higher timeline, this is the action to take. Because, you know, everything was becoming mandatory up there, and all of those aspects, and it just wasn't in alignment with me and where I'm at. And so, you know, terrified, like, you know, really just letting go of everything that I ever known and all of my safety, and just going, all right, I'm here for the next up level, and I'm trusting that I'm going to be guided and supported every step of the way.
So it sounds like, did you go by yourself?
No, I was actually married at the time.
Okay.
And so we left Canada together, and she was actually from the United States. And so we
Okay.
met in Peru at the ayahuasca retreat.
Ayahuasca. Okay.
And she came back to stay with me, you know, right, got across the border 12 hours before the original closure of the border. And so we thought it would be, we were like, oh, it'll be 2, 3 weeks, right? Thinking that that would be the closure. And, you know, then it ended up being like a year and a half, you know, later. And so, yeah, went on an adventure of a lifetime through Costa Rica and Hawaii and all over California, which is where a lot of her family's from, and then ended up landing down in Austin. And so that's where we started running women's retreats together, and doing all of those, yeah, doing everything that we're creating today.
Okay. So y'all are still together?
We've actually we separated this year. We actually just signed all of the papers and got everything finalized, and we're so grateful for our journey together and just everything that we've experienced. We did a conscious uncoupling, which was so incredibly beautiful, and taught me so much about unconditional love. And we still run women's retreats together. We still work together.
Cool.
We've really been on just a journey of unconditional love and what that looks like in all of the aspects. And, you know, I've shared with her multiple times, but, you know, I believe that I've learned more on the other side of our relationship ending about unconditional love than I ever did within it. And it doesn't mean that it didn't exist within it, it did,
I
but it,
gotcha.
it taught me all of the little layers, right? Where we love with condition.
Hmm.
And so it just brought me to a deeper surrender of trusting, letting go, and having faith in the divine orchestration that's taking place.
Hmm.
But there's so much love there. She's still one of my best friends, and I'm so grateful for the journey that we've had.
I so appreciate you talking about this because I got divorced, asked for a divorce 3 weeks before the lockdown. So he was traveling and, going places. And suddenly I had two kids at home at the time. We're all at home together. So I don't know if I believe in marriage anymore. The concept of marriage, maybe union, but also believing now that people come into your space, it may only be for a short period of time. And if you are really with someone who is conscious when that time ends, you know that it's time to stop and you break it off with love. And it sounds like have, you have done that.
Mhm.
That is okay. Everybody listening, no, it is possible. And I did have one guest on before that. Well, when the time is up, you just thank each other and say goodbye and love each other. And it's for them to talk about it, but then they were in a love relationship, so right in the middle of it. But you've experienced it, and what would you say then in terms of what you've learned through that? Let me. What are two or even more, three, one of the things that you've learned most dearly about that in
Mm.
your experience through it?
So I'll say, the number one thing was definitely the unconditional love that I
Okay.
spoke into, right? It's just seeing where we love with condition, right?
Hmm.
Witnessing someone walk away. What I've noticed when I'm just kind of, observing other breakups, it's like when
Okay.
someone walks away, if the other person, isn't, the other person wants to work on it or whatever the aspect may be, right? It's usually there's some sort of conflict of, I can't believe you're walking away. How could you, right? Then
Mhm.
there's anger, hate, resentment. And so it brought me into a place of, can I honor this person's desires that I love so much, even though the desire is not to be here in this union anymore? Because if I don't honor the desire of the person that I love, um, then I'm loving with condition. And so it really brought me into the deepest threads of what we're conditioned as humans in. Where am I loving with condition? And how can I love unconditionally in every moment? And trust me, I'm human, right? So there were aspects of moving through the pain and the resentment and the anger and all of those pieces, but I always came back to meet myself and her and the union with unconditional love. And so it brought me to a level of acceptance that I didn't have before, of unconditional love that I didn't have before, and really learning to let go of not only, her, but also the life that I had attached identity to,
Mhm.
right? Because we can get into this place, and this is, what I believe multidimensionality really comes into this as well. There's so many different timelines that are unfolding, and I believe that we do have destiny points, right? But we have kind of this infinite amount of choose your own adventure to get to these destiny points. And so, can I let go of the attachment of the life that I had designed or desired for us?
Mhm.
Can I let that go with unconditional love, creating space and not focusing on this door that has closed, but and not seeing it as a failure, but a
Yeah.
graduation into more, and being excited and opening your heart. And that was a piece that, I spoke to a few people that have been on kind of similar journeys of like keeping your heart open when it's broken. And that is something that's so difficult usually, right? When you're just
Yeah.
heartbroken and heart wrenched. And that, that doesn't mean that you need to go back and love again. It's just, can you have your heart open? And mostly to yourself, right? And mostly to community, and allow yourself to be held and supported, because that was a thread of mine, of an old story of mine was isolating in that, right? And so to open my heart and allow myself to be held by myself and held by community, there's so much. I feel like, I could do a whole podcast just talking on what I've learned from that experience. It's been one of the
Yeah.
greatest teachers for me.
And thank you so much for I know you said unconditional love initially, but going deeper into that, because a lot of people are confused about what that really means. I really enjoy what you said, keeping your heart open even though it's broken. I think
Mhm.
that is very significant. Two things I want to highlight, talking about, because I watched another video podcast that you were on, talking about plant medicine and how not only that has helped you, but how you microdose and how you really go into it. Would you mind explaining that a little bit?
Yeah, with plant medicine.
Yeah.
So there's many different ways that I will utilize plant medicine, and it really depends on kind of where I'm at, what I'm working through,
Mhm.
and really being in right relationship with it, because I am a facilitator of a couple of the different medicines. And so, there's a number of different ways to sit with plant medicine. And so you could sit, in a kind of a macro dose setting, if that's something that someone's interested in doing, really finding, first of all, a safe space and a guide
Yeah.
to sit in those ceremonies is really important. And having clear intention. I never go and sit with plant medicine just because I want to have a good time. It's really intentional of, either, I'm moving through a piece that maybe I can't just fully get there on my own in my healing journey, and I can feel that maybe there's some stuck energy, or I'm like right there, but I got some
Mhm.
blinders on, I can't quite see it. That will allow me to go deeper into the subconscious programming that's maybe way back here that my conscious mind can't quite get at.
Mhm.
Um, And there's a number of modalities that, I could use to get there. The Akashic records can bring you into those spaces as well. But specifically with plant medicine, I'll really tune in with that if I'm feeling called. And that also for me is a deep listening with my guides. My higher self will come in very clear when I'm being called to sit with plant medicine. It's not something I do. A macro dose isn't something that I would do, often. It's something that, okay, I'm really being called, and this is the intention and the reason behind it. For a microdose journey, again, it's not something that, you want to continue on with, because it's not something that um, if we can even look at pharmaceuticals, right? Pharmaceuticals are like, you take this pill for the rest of your life kind of thing. And with plant medicine, it's like, it's not supposed to be like that, right? It's you go on a regimen for maybe a 1 month, 2 month max, right? 3 months. And again, please have a guide throughout this, because there's so much that can come up in that experience that you want to make sure that you're held and supported through that process. And there's a rewiring of the neural pathways that really allows for, again, right, the old patterns, belief system, the thing that are kind of keeping you stuck from really getting to that next level of you really tuning into of, okay, I know my capability, I know my power, I know my higher mission, and I can feel it. It's right there, but I feel like I'm just on the ledge below. And so it can be kind of that breakthrough, breaking the glass ceiling, allowing you to get to that next level. And so I highly, recommend for those that are feeling called. And I also think plant medicine isn't for everybody in that sense as well. And so it's really just tuning in individually, but it's been a incredible teacher for me. And all the plant medicines that, I've sat with and that I sit in deep reverence with, they're all so different. And they've taught me many different things along my path for, in different ways.
And I like what you're, tell me if I'm hearing this correctly, which it's more of an assistance or an assister versus a crutch or, oh gosh, I need this. Mm-mm. Yeah. And I love you talking about intentionality. And when I do it, I am in reverence for it. Now, let's take a second and talk about your retreats. Okay, so I note here too, you're in the process of co-launching your fifth retreat experience. Yeah, because that one video that I watched, oh, it was just beautiful. Okay, go tell us.
Yeah, so I create retreat experiences with Morgan that I just spoken to, my ex partner, and our dear soul sister Emily, and we're on our fifth one. We're actually launching, we're recording this, a little earlier than what you're going to be, hearing it on in real time. So by the time you hear this podcast, it will be launched,
Ooh,
as we are launching on May 1st.
okay.
And so we really had a death and rebirth process of the whole experience very recently. And so we've created primordial return, which is, what we talked about in the beginning. It's the foundation of what we're fully creating. And what primordial return means is it's the essence of the 0 point of who we are on a soul level. So if we can think of even the earth, right? And I know, you know, I've heard you in your previous podcast talking about, right, the 3D to the 5D. And so when we can think of the three-dimensional realm of Earth, right, there's a lot of distortion here. There's a lot of frequency control on this planet. And there's a lot of just, duality and darkness and all of the pieces. And so it's really there's a place within this realm through the conditions and the programs and all of the pieces that have kind of stripped us from our truest essence. But there's also, right, the essence of the unity consciousness that's coming back online, and that's the ascension process that we're going through, right? That's the awakening, remembering, oh, yes, we're living our individual experience, but we're all one expression of one unified field. And so the primordial return is the return of that primordial essence. It's the 0 point, it's unity, it's consciousness, it's all of creation. And so that's primordial return. And so we're going to be launching a retreat, hybrid festival this upcoming fall in October. And we're just really excited to bring this online. This is going to be in Austin. And so we have a number of different tiers if you want to come for the entire weekend and experience really being on site with us. We have day passes. And so this is going to be
Oh, neat.
women supporting women.
Okay, so it's only women, correct?
It's a women's festival. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Retreat festival. And so, yeah, we're so excited. There's going to be guest speakers and DJs and dance and pool parties and activations. And so depending on what tier, we have an incredible retreat center, or housing retreat center that we work with, and the homes and houses are beautiful, and we bring in private chefs for the weekend, and
Ah,
it's just an incredible experience for women coming together and really stepping into feminine leadership together and releasing the stories and the patterns and conditions of the sisterhood wound, right? The comparison, the jealousy. These containers are really women empowering women and
nice.
really letting go of the hierarchy and just being supportive for one another.
What have you seen in your past retreats with women? What have you learned?
Oh my goodness.
I know
Well,
that's kind of
I
a big
mean,
question.
so much. It's interesting, yeah. Each one is different. I find that as soon as we say yes, as soon as we create, because the three of us co-create together, as soon as we say yes and we create a retreat experience, we go through our own initiation. Whatever the theme is of the retreat, we then go through that initiation ourselves
Mhm.
individually and then the three of us together. And so, I've had to work through, my own sisterhood wounds and comparison and not good enough and the yeah, just the stories that I've told myself of, am I capable of fully holding a container like this? And as we've grown and expanded, really stepping into my confidence of being a space holder and being a leader. And I believe that that confidence in my ability has really come, like I said in the beginning, walking through the fire, right? Everything that I've walked through, and even my experience with Morgan, in the ending of a relationship, that expanded me so
Mhm.
much to hold a higher level of bandwidth of unconditional love so that I can meet women in the depths of what they're moving through. Whether it be through their pain, their experience, through love, through the activation of what they're moving through and whatever initiation they're going through in that moment, I can really see them and meet them where they're at. And so, yeah, there's been every single retreat has brought its own initiation and its own flavor for me.
Beautiful. And there, I don't know about you, Shylo, but a lot of clients that I work with, we've really been working on, oh, I need a partner. I need this person. And I'm like, you gotta, you gotta. Ideally, and this is what I've been going through for the past, I've been divorced now 3.5 years. I've gone on one date, just one, and I've had really no interest in finding someone else because this process has been for me finding that self love and find that I don't need anybody else, that I just need myself. And as soon as that, and it is happening right now, then I feel good about opening myself up, because I also, narcissism and all these things that we've been conditioned to believe are okay, giving myself a real healing chance to see that, to come through it. So I bet there's a lot of that too, getting women to realize you're okay on your own. You're enough. Would you agree with that? Or do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, thank you for bringing that actually into the space. That has been one of the biggest life lessons for me
Mm,
just in especially the last few months,
yeah.
is been it's been wholeness and what you're just
Yeah.
tuning into, right? Not, and this has been a journey of really looking at the threads of where we tend to, or where I tend to outsource any of my power, right?
Mhm.
And so that's the
Yes.
aspect of I need a partner, or I need the job, or I need the whatever the I need outside of self. and went through a really powerful experience where my guides were showing me what wholeness felt like and
Oh,
tuning the frequency of wholeness, of not needing anything outside of self or validation or a partner to complete me or any of these pieces. Because what tends to happen is when you heal those deeper levels, and of course the healing journey is, kind of, it never ends, but
hmm
when we can come into a place of full wholeness, what we then do is we then attract and magnetize a partner who is also whole. So
hmm
now, instead of it being a need for someone, they're filling a void, and then you would then be filling a void for them. That's where a lot of the unintegrated shadows can come forward. And again, no one's perfect and no relationship is. Even in divine union, there's still going to be things that come up. But to
right.
call in a partner who is also in a self-love journey and wholeness and really alchemizing those pieces for themselves, the deeper that you dive into that journey for yourself, when you feel ready to magnetize in your partner, it's just going to up level the experience, the person, the love, all of that gets to deepen. And we can also, bring in a little bit of universal law here with this, is that what we feel to one degree, right, we're going to then magnetize that in. So it's, the main law of the universe is the law of vibration. And so if you can dive into self-love and just fall, I know for me, right, this year has just been falling madly, deeply in love with myself. And that level of love that I'm now vibrating
hmm
on is going to call in a partner that's going to match that
Yeah.
frequency, meaning the next love story could possibly be this, something that I have never experienced
Yeah.
before, because I've actually put myself in a new layer of love that I haven't experienced before. And so if we look at it like that, it's like everything gets to be an up level. It's just experiencing and up leveling our life, moment to moment.
Yes. And there's part of me too. It's been cool to wait because I've, within this process for myself, noticed, oh, I need to learn more about that. Or, oh, I didn't quite see that now. And now I'm aware of it. Oh, I've got this other little shadow thing that I'm working on. So there's a part of me too going, I can wait because when it is time and I am, I won't say fully healed because there's always stuff, but when I'm, yeah, because that is what my intention is. That is what my desire is. And yeah, I'll know when I'm ready, which I think I'm kind of getting close. Oh, exciting. Okay, let's go into the JustBe practice. What do you have for us today, Shylo? Is there anything else you want to comment on before I switch us totally?
No, I
All
feel
right.
that all feels really good.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
ready.
excited for the Just Be practice. I'll say, I don't know if I shared this with you, but when I was in in the temple in Thailand,
Yeah.
I actually got that tattooed on me, and it says Just Be
No
in Thai.
way. Oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh. So you're supposed to be here because my mentor also said, Eden, you named your company Just Be because that's what you need to learn the most. I'm like, ah, that's
Uh-huh.
great. Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Amazing.
Just be
So yeah, I'm going to take
practice.
us through just a 10-minute meditation. It's going to be
Okay.
grounding in and really allowing yourself to open up your channel. We're going to really embody the light body. And this also gets to be a quantum manifestation in the sense of when we ground in, when we open our channel and we get clear, we pull more light into the light body, we allow ourselves to access, right, these new, what we were just talking about, right, these this new level of frequency of these desired realities.
Mhm.
And so, just taking a moment right now and just really tuning into, okay, well, what am I really wanting to call in the next, say, 6 months of my life? What do I want to really become a vibrational match? And we're also going to give room and space for whatever's no longer serving that desired reality to release through vibrational alignment. And so just follow along to my voice. It'll be really simple and guided every step of the way. And so I just invite you to allow yourself to get out of the mind and really drop into the heart for this practice. And so you can take a moment and just tune into the heart and just close your eyes and just allow yourself to be fully present here in this now moment. Breathing into the heart, feeling the expansion, feeling the love and the light that is ready to come into the being and the body. And you can start to allow yourself to just release what you're holding on to, allowing yourself to let go and surrender into the process. Invite you down to the bottom of your root chakra. Now, this is just at the bottom of your spine, the base of your spine. We're going to set the intention to release the grounding cord. Now, your grounding cord is an energetic cord. This can be made of light, or it could even be a tree root. Just allowing whatever is coming forward to manifest now. And releasing that grounding cord, allowing it to go all the way down, down, down through all of the layers of the earth until it hits the center core. This center core is Gaia's heart. And as you sync up heart to heart with her, feeling the tuning of that energy, feeling her sacred knowledge, her ancient wisdom that exists deep beneath your feet. And just feeling the synergy of your hearts coming together, beating as one. You can start to breathe all of that all the way back up, bringing your awareness into your body, allowing yourself to move through your channel, bringing your awareness to the top of your head, just opening and activating every part of your being. As you get to the top of your crown, opening the crown chakra, allowing higher light to come from up above, and allowing that pillar of light to go through the channel, through the subtle bodies, and just clear, cleanse, and protect. Feeling yourself fully connected from up above and from down below. Finding your way back into your heart. And as you're here in the center of your heart, I want you to sense, feel, or imagine that the flower of life, sacred geometry, is coming alive within the center of your heart. And even if you don't know what this looks like, that's okay. Your body remembers. These are ancient energetic codings that exist within you. So just by bringing awareness to this sphere in the heart space, it comes online. And so as you're with this sphere, finding your way into the center of it, and as you're in the center of this sphere, feeling an infinite amount of light strands coming off of the outside of the sphere, connecting to you. So every part of your being, as you're sitting floating in the center of the sphere, is connected by light. And this connects you into the unified field, into that 0 point, the primordial. And this is a space where all of creation exists. And with this infinite amount of light strands, it's starting to activate more of your light body, pulling more light into the being, giving your body permission to release all of the density that is no longer serving. And so as you pull that in, I want you to allow yourself to just be held and supported and guided by all of the beings that are here to serve you and your highest good. Calling them into your space now. These can be the angelic realm, ascended masters, galactic family of light, all benevolent beings, healed ancient ancestors, just supporting you in this process, loving you, guiding you, holding you. I want you to bring forth what that desired reality is. What is the next level for you? Or maybe many next levels. Allow yourself to dream as big as you possibly can. And really getting clear, not only on what the vision is, but what is the feeling in the body? When we talked about wholeness, what would that feel like to be whole? To feel abundant, to feel loved unconditionally, to feel happy and joy and fulfilled. That right now in the center of this sphere, you feel the most content that you've ever felt. Feel the level of peace that exists within that. And also feel what is possible to create in your life coming from this frequency. So as you get clear on what it is and feel it in your being, in your body, we're also allowing what is no longer in resonance with this desired reality to release, to let go. So simultaneously, we're creating space and pulling in a new vibrational state. Breathing into that. Breathing in and expanding into that. Rumya satatahia tahia tahia taha rumya satatahia tahia ramya satatahia tahia tahia taha. And taking a nice deep breath in, allowing yourself to release. Now I want you to feel this desired reality, this feeling, this state. I want you to feel it expanding all the way around your physical body. So out of the heart, into all of the parts of your being, down to the cellular level, feeling light just pouring into your field, expanding, recalibrating, allowing more to come in. And so just feeling that expansion taking place, feeling your bandwidth being stretched beyond where it was before. And allowing yourself to just be in this moment, right now. Feeling the new level of bandwidth coming online. Breathing into that. And allowing yourself to feel fully worthy of staying in this level of expansion, knowing that you are capable, that you are here to reach your highest potential, and that you desire this reality because it's already yours through the multidimensionality of your existence. So claim it to be now. And so just feeling that infinite light going through all time and space, portals, dimensions, seen, unseen, known, unknown. Feeling that expansion, feeling that connection to divinity. And you can come back into the heart, allowing that sphere of golden light through the sacred geometric pattern of the flower of life, just feeling that collapse down into the 0 point. As you're within your heart space, just pulling that light from down below and from up above, just pulling all parts of your being back in. Really allow yourself to embody the frequency that you just anchored in, breathing in and allowing yourself to release. And taking your time, coming back into the space when you're feeling ready to do so, you can open your eyes and come back to.
Thank you for that.
You're so welcome.
Yay. It was very, I think 6 months from now, it's a beautiful, again, I always laugh every show. I'm like, oh, you did that meditation just for me, Shylo. Thank you so much. Because it was exactly what I needed to attach to 6 months, because there's a lot that I am dreaming of. So that really helped kick it all in. Hey, thank you. Say your website, would you? Can you give it?
Yes, it's www.shylodawn, so SHYLODAWN.com.
And I'll have it on the video as well. Hey, thank you so much for coming here and sharing some deep stuff about you, especially your relationship with that freshly. It's still kind of fresh out there. So thank you so much for letting us hear about that and letting us feel it and knowing that's a really friggin' big deal. And I'm very excited about your retreat as well. So I send you so much success. I know I don't really need to send that your way, but we're going to send some more. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for being here today. Yay. Anything else you want to close us out with other than bye-bye?
Yeah, I'm just so grateful for you having me on. Thank you so much for allowing me just a space to share my story. It's not something that I share often. And,
Yeah.
I just really trust that those that are here are receiving it well. And I feel blessed to be here with you today. Thank you.
Oh gosh, thank you. All right, y'all. See everybody soon. Hear everybody soon. Wake up, sheeple. Let's go. See ya. Y'all, find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Truth Social, as well as Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, plus a plethora of other audio directories like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So subscribe, do it all. See ya.